Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting at the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. A beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSB is my Twitter handle, so check me out there. USC down the stretch here, 3 games left. They're going to be favored heavily to win 2 of them, and then they have the death match out there in Oregon to face the Mighty Ducks, if you will. So we'll see what happens there. But first and foremost, they have to beat Iowa first. Beating Iowa is paramount to their season. They've already reached their win total of last year. So good to see that. That USC is back in their winning ways. 7-2. Obviously, we're lamenting the loss at Notre Dame. We're lamenting the loss at Illinois. If they just squeezed out one of those victories, they'd have a driver's seat, if you will, to the college football playoff. But that's not where we are. So we have to see. They got to slay that dragon out there against the Ducks. The Ducks are a very good team. They respond very well, especially on the road. So we'll see there. But I don't want to talk too much about the Ducks because I want to respect the opponent that USC has coming up this week in Los Angeles at the Coliseum. So you guys ask some questions. Let's get these questions answered real quick for you guys. And it's going to be just a question and answer show. And then we'll go talk about some other things during the week. We'll have Coach B on, preview the Iowa game. Iowa is, again, a solid defensive team, solid running game. Don't know about the passing game really much. The passing game is really kind of up in the air. But we'll see if that is something that USC has to worry about. So in 2022, James wants to know in 2026, does he see Jaden Maiava? Do we see Jaden Maiava in a Trojan uniform? So I'm conflicted on this because it seems like people are pretty confident that Longstreet isn't going anywhere. So if Longstreet isn't going anywhere and he's going to stay with the Trojans for he's going to sit for 2 years and then start, then we're good. Then I'm good to go. For Jaden, I think, there's something we talk about Jaden back and forth. And one of the things that I did that we didn't even realize that this is really kind of his first full season as a starter. UNLV, and then, obviously here with USC. So this is his first full season. And I think he's learning a lot. He's getting better. I think he's learning how to use his legs. He ran over some people near the goal line, which is like, you want to be careful with that. But then also, he is a guy who is big enough to kind of handle some of those hits. But you don't want to see him take too many hits, all the time. But I like what I've seen from him so far. I think ever since the Illinois game, he has continuously had one turnover at least in every game since then. And that has to change. You got 3 games left. I would love to see a clean sheet from him coming up here. That'd be nice to see when they see him not have to, sit back and just keep turning the ball over. Right now at 17 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So let's see here. As far as him rushing, he has 6 rushing touchdowns. So 23. So we'll give him. I like to add those in. So 23 touchdowns total, and then 6 interceptions. So those are decent numbers. He's run the ball. He's run the offense pretty well. So obviously this is one of the most efficient passing games, one of the most explosive and efficient passing games in all college football. But I do think his family has to sit down with him, because let's look at last year's draft, right? It wasn't a big, heavy quarterback draft. You got Dart, who went in the first round. You had Cam Ward, who went first overall, right? And then you're in a situation where, Drew Aller stayed. That was probably an NFL mistake. Carson Beck stayed, NFL mistake. Who's the other guy? Musnheimer, whatever his name is, from LSU. He stayed, and he got benched. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not even that. He went from being a promising passer to being a guy who got benched. Now that they changed coaches and they moved on. So it's tough, man. It's a tough situation there. So I would not be I would be very I would think about that. As much as you love USC and I love to see him develop one more year. He and his family have to sit down and say, hey, listen, this could be the best chance to go to the NFL in a weak NFL draft for the quarterbacks. You got you got an opportunity here to make some dough, and also you'll kind of solidify that future and be a quarterback as far as that goes. What's up with all the too high safety? I think he plays a safety. Here's the thing: I want to see Kamari Ramsey make some plays. I get why he's doing it. He doesn't want to make any big mistakes in this game. I think the secondary is getting a little bit better. I think Nick. It takes a perfect play to beat the Carlos Nicholson right now. It takes a really perfect play to beat him. So that is there. You're developing Conley, who had a lot of snaps. I think Williams, Sully Williams is playing good football too. They have a tendency, all the defensive backs on USC, when the ball's in the air and it's a deep shot, 9 route or whatever, they have a tendency to fall down. They can't stay up and get the PBU. That's something they have to change. They got to stay on their feet. Be able to turn around and play the ball. Because some of these plays, if they just turn around and play the ball, they're picks. You're not going up against Aaron Rodgers here. You're not going up against Josh Allen in these college games. You probably face only a couple of guys who can really, really sling it. So I would definitely you're not facing a guy who can really, really sling it this week. You're facing a guy who's a runner first, if you will, in Iowa. Iowa's running game. Michelle wants to know about the Iowa running game. Listen, they are a big team up front. Okay, and they want to smash the football. They want to limit your possessions. They want to do all this stuff. Okay, so that's basically what they want to do. They want to keep a high-powered offense like Oregon, keep a high-powered offense like Indiana, keep a high-powered offense like USC off the field, because that is their best opportunity to win the football game. It's really that simple. I mean, that's all you want. That's all Iowa wants to do in this situation here. So, if you're USC, like I said, it would behoove them to just get the 20 points as soon as possible. If you get the 20 points in this game, this team, the Iowa is going to struggle to get the 20 points, unless USC gives up a untraditional touchdown, like a how can I put it, like a kickoff return, punt return, pick six, fumble in your own end. If you don't do those things, then USC is going to be fine in this game. Good, like I said, I respect Iowa, really good defensive team, but I think if USC can just keep the offense rolling, get the running game going, they should be fine. They should be fine in this game. And they have the two caveats is, Oregon beat them with a bunch of backup wide receivers. Lane is healthy, Lemon is healthy. The tight ends have gotten involved this year, which is something that we really were clamoring for years for USC, and we love that for the Trojans. Let's see here. We got the 20 points. Yeah. So Marcus talked about in the text line, want to know about the 20-point marker. Yeah, it's huge in this game. If you get to 20 points quickly, you put them behind the 8 ball. You put them in a situation where, it's going to be hard for them to stick with the run. When you play a team like Iowa, you want to make sure that it's very difficult for them to stay with the run. If they can stay with the run, then they're going to hit you with that game-winning drive. And it almost worked. It almost worked against Oregon. It almost worked against the Ducks, where they where they were able to almost, have that drive that ends the game. But on that fourth down run, but they kind of left too much time in the game. I'm trying to look up some stats while I'm talking to you guys. Um, they're looking up some games. I mean, there were some opportunities in that game, and they left too much time, I guess, for them to win that game, and then the Ducks came out on top. So yeah, the 20-point marker. I mean, if they can get 20 points by the half, I think they can. I think USC should feel really good about that game. Running the table. Joshua wants to know about my feelings about USC running the table. They can. It's possible. But I do think, let's be I gotta be real about it. It's gonna be very difficult because, they have no room for error. I think if I was a betting man, I would say they'll end up 9-3. But they do have an opportunity here to win. They have an opportunity to win that game in Oregon because let's face it. I mean, Oregon doesn't really need the game. Like Oregon's going to be in the playoff. Like a loss to USC is not going to stop them from making the playoff. Let's see here. Yeah. So they ran. So Oregon Oregon ran the ball for 36 times. They ran the ball 36 times in this ball game against Iowa for 261 yards. And Iowa is going to never stop running the football. And you see it here. They ran the ball 43 times for only 101 yards against the Ducks. So the attempts are going to be there. They damn near ran the ball almost 50 times in this game. So it doesn't matter. Even the score. I think even if they get down 3 scores, they're still going to come out and run the football, and try to just get back in the game that way and rely on their defense. They're not going to stop running the football. But I do give the Ducks credit. They ran the ball pretty well against them. And the last drive, Moore did not play well in the game, but he did make some critical throws late in the game to help the Ducks win that one. Let's see here. Solve the run. My Mike wants to know about solving the rushing defense issues. You're going to give up something in these games, so I get it to a certain extent. I mean, they just can't kill. I mean, like anywhere between 150 and 100 is I guess going to be doable here. I mean, I would like to see USC kind of crowd the line of scrimmage, play a bare front. Do not let this. I mean, kind of trust the corners here. They don't really have great receivers on that team, but I understand the concern about the secondary and sometimes the tackling in the secondary with the corners. So if you miss a tackle, then all of a sudden it's a 60-yard touchdown, and then that changes the game dramatically, and you don't want to fall behind. I think one thing that's kind of big in this game. You want to stay even or ahead of Iowa. You don't want to fall behind Iowa because they do have that tendency to have that that 15 play 70-yard drive that can kill you. So with that being said, I would say it'd be nice to see that run defense they had against Michigan, but I don't know if that's realistic to say that they can have that all the time. But they should be better. I would go heavy personnel defensively. I go all my big guys up front, their first and second down, and then try to get it a third and long, because that's what where you want them to be, is third and long with Gronowski at quarterback. Let's see here. We got the rumors about Lincoln Riley leaving. So Lincoln Riley. So I think what Josh Pate said doesn't come from nowhere. Think what you want about Josh Pate. I mean, he doesn't. I don't think that whole conversation came from nowhere. So it came from somewhere. It came from somewhere in the Raleigh camp or whatever. It came from somewhere. So with that being said, what are you doing here? I mean, when you're at a blue blood like USC, I know the schedule looks daunting next year, all that stuff like that, but you have that class. the way NIL is set up now, you kind of lock these kids into these deals now. It's just like it's right there. I mean, like everything is going in the right direction. You might have a team that makes the playoff this year. Like you leave a playoff team, like that would be kind of weird. They have all the the pieces of the puzzle to do it. All they're asking him to do is just win the football games. Now he's not even having to do all the other stuff that he had to do before because they have Chad Bowden, and they have a really good president. Like sports director, athletic director, and Jen Cohen. They have a lot of the pieces there. He just needs to finish the job and get this team in a playoff consistently. I think that's where you start. Get USC into the playoff consistently, and then after that, then you're like, okay, what's the next step to winning a national championship? But you can't win a national championship if you're not in the playoff. So first of all, to get to the playoff, and they have a chance to get in the playoff this year. They do. They have a chance to run their favorite in 2 out of 3 games. I know Oregon's going to be very hard. Dan Lanning is a very good coach. They have an opportunity to win that game though. So you can't. I'm not gonna sit there and like say they don't have a chance to win the game. They do have a chance to win that game. So no question about it. O-line, O-line's biggest test. People get. I mean, like listen. How many sacks did they have in this game too? I'm sure how many sacks they had in this game against I can't still know if they have that stat in here. How many sacks did they have in this game? I think they went sackless. They went sackless and had 1 TFL in this ball game. So like, I mean, it's about sacks and pressures. Pressures are huge on games like this as well. So you want to make sure that I mean, Hanson and this crew has just been doing a great job with the offensive line. Like I said, in our we have a USC chat, and I keep saying like I don't remember a single time where Jaden got blown up, or got hit really hard. They do a good job of protecting the quarterback. Being balanced really helps that this kids continue. The 2 games they lost, Notre Dame and Illinois, they weren't balanced. And this game is about just getting the ball to the playmakers and letting them go. Like early on, you're going to see Iowa jumping up and down and maybe making some tackles, but as the game goes, it's just harder to grab on to Jacoby Lane and keep him from going far. It's going to be very hard to keep Mekhi Lemon, from going off in this game. Like it becomes more difficult, and you can double, you can do whatever you want. I mean, Notre Dame doubled, and then Jacoby Lane had a big day. Had a big day, and they took the lead going into the 4th quarter. So, I would say that is probably the biggest thing here for me is that I think they've been a really good offensive line all year. There was a big question mark. They've had injuries there. We don't know the status of Johnny Reed, who came out of the game late. Killian O'Connor came into the game, so that was good to see Killian back in the mix. Hopefully he's ready to go, and hopefully hopefully we have both Reed and O'Connor ready to go coming up on Saturday, 12:30. Trojans, Hawkeyes out here in Los Angeles. So, all right, Student Body Right, USC podcast. Gonna sign off real quick. I said we only got 3 games left, so we're gonna do as many shows as we possibly can do. Thank you for your support. Also, continue to support the Trojans as much as you can. Go out there and go to the game. If you can't, then I'm sure there's a bunch of watch parties you guys are gonna have out there to make sure you watch the game, because this is what we wanted. You wanted to be in it late to try to make the playoff and have some games to really go ahead and root for USC coming down the stretch. I think they have a chance. Obviously, I don't think USC is in that place where they'd be looking past this opponent. So I would not worry about that part of it. They just need to be. The biggest key is the not traditional touchdowns. No, you can't give up a pick six. You can't give up a scoop and score. You can't give up a special teams touchdown. If they can just stay away from those non-traditional touchdowns and just keep it our offense versus their defense versus our offense, I think USC can win the game. 7-point favorites right now. I think it might be down to 6.5 in other spots. All right, Student Body Right, USC podcast. Peace and fight on, folks.